The PGA Tour is facing a rebellion unlike anything in its history. 11 players who defected to LIV Golf are threatening to boycott the final event of the season, and the reasons behind the protest have sent shockwaves through the golf world. Saudi funding is drying up. The season-ending team championship has been canceled, and the players who were promised guaranteed money are now facing a brutal reality. The door back to the PGA Tour comes with consequences. The breaking point appears to be the LIV Golf Mexico City event scheduled for later this month. According to sources, players are considering a boycott or sit-in, hoping to start the clock on their one-year suspension from the PGA Tour. The thinking is simple. If the league is collapsing, they want to serve their punishment now rather than lose another full PGA Tour season later. But the PGA Tour isn't making it easy. Golf writer Alan Shipnuck has laid out exactly how the tour plans to handle LIV defectors who come crawling back, and the answer isn't pretty for anyone not named Bryson DeChambeau or Rahm. Tour leadership is enjoying the moment with great gusto. They believe they have won the war, and they are not in a forgiving mood. Payback, retribution, vengeance, that's what's on the menu. The players who thought they had secured their financial futures are now facing the consequences of their decisions. Under the PGA Tour's current rules, a player must sit out a full year from his last LIV event before the tour will even consider reinstating him. Beyond that, Shipnuck expects some form of tribunal where players have to confess their crimes, serve suspensions, and grind their way back through the Korn Ferry Tour. For most names, the path back to full PGA Tour status could take 2 years. There is a narrow exception carved out for stars with real commercial value. DeChambeau and Rahm might get an expedited lane simply because they move the needle. Everyone else is lumped in with the players who, in the tour's view, undermined it, sued it, and tried to destroy it. The reception for those guys is going to be frosty. Former European Ryder Cup captain Paul McGinley believes the PGA Tour should play hardball with the LIV defectors. Everybody who went to LIV went with a huge amount of risk attached. They got paid a huge amount of money to take a massive risk, to leave behind the safety net of the PGA Tour. The loyalty has to be to the guys who did not go to LIV, not the ones who did take that risk. The message from the tour is clear. You made your bed. Now lie in it. While some LIV players are threatening boycotts, others are already grinding their way back the hard way. Patrick Reed is leading the race to Dubai on the European Tour and is a lock to get his PGA Tour card for 2027. He will be eligible to play in PGA Tour events from August, 12 months after his last LIV start. The longtime villain has endeared himself to golf fans by swallowing his pride in doing things the hard way. He has won twice this season in Dubai and Qatar and has risen to 20th in the world rankings after having been outside the top 100 a year ago. Brooks Koepka was the first to take advantage of the returning member program, paying a $5 million fine and accepting severe restrictions to come back. But his season was a disaster. He missed the FedEx Cup playoffs. He called his performance pathetic, and his failure is a warning to any LIV player considering a return. The path back is brutal, and the players are divided on how to walk it. The current PGA Tour contingent is divided on how to handle the LIV defectors. Some are ready to welcome them back, others want consequences. I would think that the fans want everyone to be playing together, and, time heals all wounds, said Brian Harman, the 2023 Open champion. But he also noted, still some sentiment out here, especially with all the lawsuit stuff. That stuff's going to be tough to get past. Lucas Glover, who has been one of the tour's most vocal critics of the LIV divide, said he has respect for people and golfers because they're people first and my peers second. He added, I will never begrudge anybody for making a decision for the betterment of their career. Max Homa acknowledged the complexity of the issue. Everyone deserves a place to play golf, so it would be ridiculous to not allow them a place to play.
I just heard that rumor an hour and a half ago, so it would be a hard one for me to digest at this moment. The PGA Tour locker room is divided, and the battle is just beginning.
While the LIV debate rages, another controversy is brewing over the PGA Tour's playoff format. The FedEx Cup playoffs are being called a failed format by critics, with many arguing that the lack of volatility and drama makes the events feel more like a bonus season than a true playoff. Golf writer Alan Shipnuck has been one of the most vocal critics. "We have been talking about this since the mid-2000s. They can never get it right. They can never get the volatility or sense of drama right," Shipnuck said. The problem is that players like Rory McIlroy can coast through the first two playoff events, safe in the knowledge that all he has to do is turn up to Eastlake and play well at the Tour Championship to win the FedEx Cup. McIlroy himself admitted this logic after the St. Jude Championship, explaining why he felt comfortable using the event as a glorified tune-up. Dan Rappaport has proposed a solution: reset the points after the regular season so only the top 70 advance, then the top 50, then the top 30. Under this format, McIlroy would have been eliminated from the playoffs had Rappaport's suggestion been in place. The playoff format is broken, and the PGA Tour's biggest stars are exploiting it. The PGA Tour is facing a rebellion unlike anything in its history. 11 LIV players are threatening to boycott. The path back to the Tour is brutal, the players are divided, and the playoff format is broken. The questions now are impossible to ignore. Can the PGA Tour survive the LIV defectors' return? Will the boycott actually happen? And what does the divide say about the future of professional golf? One thing is certain: the battle is far from over, and the golf world will be watching every move.